Hey, everybody. Welcome back and happy Train Tuesday with Jim here in Central and my partner in crime. How's it going out there, Janek?
Oh, man, I've got my lefts and my rights mixed up. Other than that, it's beautiful outside. I think I haven't been outside all day, but the weather's really great this time of year. 70 and sunny. Can't really complain too much.
No, I can't, especially since out here it's maybe 38 right now. So,
yeah,
the sun is out, and I can see the sun in your background, so that's good. So hopefully that smoke is starting to go away. So,
yeah, it's like some kind of a fire. It seems.
Yeah. So we got some guys showing up. Matt, Justin, we got Jim, we got Sean. Hey, thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for coming on board. Man, we got a lot to cover today too, don't we?
Man, that announcement packet is there's just so much to talk about. I mean, usually there's a lot, but I feel like there's even more this time with all those GP9s and then the SD40s. So
yeah, I'm still trying to catch up from last month, and man,
yeah.
I keep looking. I mean, have you ordered your stuff yet? Because there's so much there that I want to get. We're talking about that project layout, and I mean, we already determined last week that we're going to get the SD70 ACUs.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, I was really torn about it. I was like, oh man, I really only want just the one. I'm not really a CP modeler, but dang, they are just so cool. I couldn't resist ordering one of the red ones. And I also ordered the 7022.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I got them without sound so that, I can say, oh, well, I saved some money now and I'll put sound in them later when I feel like it. So.
Yeah. I never thought of that. That's a great idea because that really opens up the budget, so I could, sneak that in a little bit easier with my wife not getting too upset about it. So
yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
The other thing too is we got those really nice Genesis cabooses, and for me being in the Midwest, and for a lot of folks out there in the West like you, Janek, I mean, not only are they just Burlington Northern and in the cool Cascade Green, but we've got the former CB&Q cabooses, but they're lettered for BN, and that's kind of cool. I mean, how many guys out there like to model early BN?
It's pretty one of the most popular times to model. You got all those paint schemes coming together and running together at least for the first 5 years.
At least
before a lot of stuff started getting repainted. And the BN cabooses go on. They don't just go on BN trains either. They could go on other railroads, coal trains especially. I've seen that. So
that's true. That is really true. And I mean, you remember? I think it was about 3 years ago. Remember we did the CB&Q Jeeps, but they were lettered for BN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I picked a while ago, and now I mean I kind of have to buy at least one of those cabooses, especially since I'm going to be doing a switching layout. I can always backdate it to 1970 or whatever, and have a cool caboose. You're going to have a Cascade Green one.
You got to get.
I have to have that.
The green one is just cool.
Yeah. So we're going to have to get cabooses. Man, what else did we run last month? We did some other Genesis cars too, didn't we?
Yeah, what did we do? We did those flat cars and trailers, right? That was last month, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in there last month. So, again, even if you're doing a switching layout, if you're doing a regular layout, maybe a module, you're going to need trailers. And of course the F89F flat cars too. So if we get the trailers, then we're going to have to get the flat cars to go with the trailers.
You can't have enough of those flat cars if you're doing intermodal, basically late 60s up until the 2000s. You can't have too many of them.
Wow. So, wow, and of course, you guys know too, I do N scale. So we had N scale stuff too. We had the N scale F89F flat cars.
Yep, that's true, huh?
Man. So basically, I think what I'm hearing is I'm not going to have a paycheck there for at least 1 month.
You better hope it's one of those months where it works out so you get free paychecks, and you just put that towards it.
See, there's a good idea. That's a great idea. So, Janek, let's think about last month for a second, because it was a really popular month. I mean, there was so much good stuff last month that it's hard to say just yes to one thing.
I know it.
But out of everything that was in that packet, everything that was in that month, what do you think was your favorite item and why?
For me, it was the BN green cabooses. If I'm going to be honest, like I mentioned before, I'm working on a UFix utility fuels coal train. I got this video of one going by. It's kind of like a Kodachrome C30-7. It's got a bunch of BN SD40-2s on the point. The entire train goes by. It's just filthy. Everything's covered with coal dust. And then the caboose is a BN green caboose. Now, I'm not sure if it's the one that we're doing, but BN green caboose, that's going to work for that application no matter what. So that was the one I was really excited to see. That basically completes my train. I've been borrowing my friend's caboose for a while to complete the train, and that's kind of embarrassing. So I finally
yeah, and you bring up a great point, because like I said, I bought my former CB&Q Jeep and lettered for BN, and I go back and forth to my native state of New Hampshire and here, and so I'll run with the guys out east, and here's my really cool Midwest looking train, but there's no caboose. And 1970 is a little bit too early for end of train units.
It is, yeah.
Now, so I can finally see. There you go.
Or just put a red flag on the last car.
yeah, it's just a little local deal.
Yeah, there's some T-shirt or something. I'm sure that's happened a few times.
I'm sure. Kevin out there, he's saying that let's have an Athen layaway. It might be a good idea. That's how remember what was it years ago? You don't hear about it much anymore with all the online shopping, but it used to be you could do layaway. You'd go to your local box store or whatever for Christmas time and set aside. Maybe Athen should do that.
Maybe we
should.
With
your dealer and say, hey. And that way, every Christmas going forward, you've got a pretty good Christmas, because all of these items are coming in next year about this time.
Let's have the layaway at my house in my garage. We can keep all the stuff there. I promise none of it's going to ever get used for anything else, unless if I want it to be.
So Jim out there says, all my trains all have cabooses. And, there's a lot of guys out there. It's like, man, there was something cool about the caboose, back in the day. And for some of the other younger guys out there, you don't really see it too much. Once in a while, you'll see one as a shoving platform, but
yeah, it's sort of like seeing a ghost when that happens, pretty much.
It is, and it's really bad when my stepson, when he first saw my layout, and of course I was running 1970, so I had a caboose on the end, and he asked me, he's like, "What is that?" And it hit me, he was born 10 years after they stopped using cabooses. So yeah, to him it looked like a funny house with wheels. So he had no idea.
What kind of freight does that carry?
Yeah, exactly. Like what? Maybe he thought that was the party bus. I don't know, but
well, I'm sure it was in some cases.
Probably was.
Depending on the railroad.
Yeah. There was some great stuff last month. So guys out there, while we're daydreaming talking about these great products, I mean, you got a chance. We have a really neat chance where you can go to your hobby shop, and if you think you've missed out, you haven't. We can sneak your orders in. So, if you're like Janek and I, and you keep talking yourselves into different locomotives, freight cars, trailers, and in this case, cabooses, go see your dealer, talk to your dealer, or call up your dealer if you shop online, and place your order, because I know if I don't order those cabooses, I'm going to regret it. Because remember when we did the CB&Q cabooses a couple of years ago, and what sold out quick?
It was gone like overnight. Yeah,
exactly. They're definitely definitely a limited run. So if you model the early BN, you're going to definitely want to put your order in.
A lot of dealers order a few extras as well, just in case somebody missed the deadline. So maybe you missed the deadline of what you wanted, but maybe your favorite dealer or online retailer ordered extra. You could still place a pre-order with those guys. So.
Yeah, that is true. So don't be like, I've done it twice now, even since working for Athen, where I've seen something and it's like, we're guys. Most of us are guys out there. So how many times do we put off going to the dentist, going to the doctor? You shouldn't put this off.
No.
Because you will regret it. It looks like Austin out there has already ordered his Burlington Northern cabooses. So Austin's all set. He's ready to go. Let's see. We got some other guys commenting too that they're definitely getting those in. Man, there was another freight car. What else was it?
You guys ordered too? If you guys ordered anything from that group, did you guys order the ACUs? Did you get the cabooses? Did you get the flat cars with the trailers? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We want to know what you guys are working on too, and it's one of those things where, at least with us, I know we can get real busy with stuff and we forget. We definitely don't want to forget on these. So,
yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said before, they are limited. So once those orders get in, it's kind of like in the old days when the railroads would order their locomotives or their freight cars or anything like that. They'd place their order, and EMD or Elko or GE, whoever was the manufacturer, they'd say, okay, we got those orders in, we're going to go build your equipment, and then they'd show up on railroad property later on. And it wouldn't be one of those things where you could say in the midway through the process, oh, I need one more GP38-2. Yeah, maybe not, but in this case, definitely don't want to be like that. You want to get your orders in now. So speaking of orders and speaking of stuff, November was a great month. There's no doubt about it, with a lot of stuff going on. But December's looking pretty good too, isn't it?
Oh man, that's what I'm excited to talk about. Yeah, definitely.
Well, let me share my screen here.
Yeah. Those GP9s, they come from all corners of the continent here with what we chose.
They do. Yeah, the GP9 is just everywhere. And let's see, remember Friday, I was having trouble with the computer. Let's see if it actually works with us this time. So,
yep.
We've got some great selections again. And, we've got CP Rail in the 1970s multi-mark, which is really cool. I remember that paint scheme well. And then, of course, I bet you remember that Santa Fe paint scheme.
I do, but it's interesting that, most people think of that scheme as being on newer locomotives, SD40-2s, and SD45-2s, F45s, FP45s. But there were a few of these Jeeps that got it too towards the end of their lives. And it was a really unique look for them to have that newer paint scheme on that really older style hood unit there.
Yeah, definitely, because most guys would remember that the GP7s came in the zebra paint scheme, the black and the silver, and then later on the Jeep 7s and then the Jeep 9s. They had what a lot of guys call the billboard paint scheme, which was still a really classy paint scheme.
That is
we did those a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But this is perfect for the modeler that's modeling 1972 right up into the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Up into the early 80s for these. At that point is when a lot of them started getting remanufactured. with the Topeka cabs and the chopped noses at that point.
Very cool. And I mean, with this one, it's got, prototype specific type things. It's got this can style radio antenna. You can see there too, it's got the spark arresters that were common for that locomotive in that part of the country. Whereas the Canadian Pacific, they have a slightly different light setup. Their headlight setup is certainly different than a standard stock one. This one's using a Nathan M3 horn, which would be simulated in the DCC sound card by Soundtracks.
Right.
And man, I remember, going up into northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, and seeing this paint scheme all over the place. And I just thought it was a really cool paint scheme. But the one thing I always took away from that was I would hate to be the guy that had to paint those barricade stripes on the end.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a time-consuming task. And that's probably why they started going to simpler schemes without the stripes as time went on.
Definitely a classy looking locomotive, but we didn't stop there. This is one that we had requests a lot. We had a lot of people request that. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on this.
Yeah, please do.
Let's see.
It's interesting, man, that Toronto, Hamilton, and Buffalo isn't a road that I knew a lot about at all until we started working on these. It's a really interesting railroad, and the following just seems to be really there. If you're a TH&B fan, you live, eat, and breathe TH&B. So hopefully those guys are going to be really happy when they see these.
Yeah, as far as schemes go, that's just a classy scheme. It's just almost elegant, which is you'd think you'd see a paint scheme like that on an old FA or a PA or maybe an F unit. Man, even the utilitarian GP9 wears that scheme really well.
It's probably one of those original EMD designed paint schemes. They had a selection of stock paint schemes they could put on these, and that to me looks like it's probably one of them. And it, like you said, it looks really good on this Jeep here. The colors that they chose on there, really classy, like you said. And we're working with some TH&B experts on the colors to choose colors that are going to be accurate. They told us, yeah, some of these other TH&B models that have been produced, the colors were not quite there. We said, okay, we're going to take that feedback, and we're going to go with what you guys think, and what we think based on the photos, because we've never done any of this paint scheme before, so this will be the first time. We have a chance to get it right the first time, and then all the times after that too, hopefully.
And again, you've got the details, where they matter. This is how this locomotive would have appeared in the 60s and the 70s, but you've got the steam generator intake and exhaust. You've got the bell mounted on the long hood for the prototype.
Yep.
Even got the separate ACI panel plates included that you can put on. Roof-mounted air tanks. I mean, it's really something that the TH&B modelers have been asking for.
Well, yeah, I mean, these things have pretty much every option if you look at it. I mean, you got the winterization hatch, the steam generator, and the roof air tanks. There and the end-mounted bell. These things have a whole lot of different options on them that really makes them cool.
I definitely see one of these in my future, just for the fact that it's just such a cool-looking locomotive.
Yeah, it really is. So what else have we got too? We got some more good stuff.
Got some Louisville and Nashville. Louisville and Nashville. Depending on where you're from.
Louisville and Nashville, man.
Louisville and Nashville.
We just got tons of requests for this one, and it's so funny why we've done L&N before, but never in the gray. And why not? The gray is cool, and it was around for a while. There was a lot of different variations on it that we could do. So actually with this group, we've got 2 of the passenger units, and we got 2 of the freight units, and the 532 is not shown here, but it's actually in a different scheme. It's got the number on the cab as opposed to on the hood. So it's just a slightly different paint scheme. So really cool variety of these things. When you buy two of them, they're both L&N, but they're not the same. They have different details, and that really adds interest if you're operating.
John thinks so. John definitely likes that. Let's get a shout out for all the L&N modelers out there. I mean, that's cool. We haven't done this like this. I mean, this is really cool. And this is, again, we're talking, mid to late 70s into the 80s, just before the mergers.
Yeah, late 60s and up, all the way up until Family Lines, and a lot of them never got repainted in Family Lines, or they got repainted slowly, at least. So these are good for a wide time period. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, we're seeing that. There we go. We got Rob. We got Kevin. There's some guys that love the L&N. And it's a cool railroad. It's the nice thing about this job, Janek, is you can learn so much about the different railroads. Whereas a modeler, you kind of just model your favorite little roads and that's the end of it. But here you start digging in a little bit. And that's what happened to me with Illinois Terminal. The more you dig into the railroad, the more interesting it becomes. And
definitely,
that's the cool thing about these old railroads. Definitely. So let's see what else we've got. I think we've got something closer to my neck of the woods here somewhere. Let's see. Well, what do we have here?
Oh, there it is. The Boston.
There it is. The old Boston and Maine, or as we affectionately would call it back in the old days, pre-Guilford, the bent and mangled.
Well, yeah. This is a whole new take on Bankruptcy Blue, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. The reason why they did this, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but when Alan Dustin took over from Patrick McGinnis, now Patrick McGinnis, he ordered these Jeep 9s new in '57, and his wife actually helped pick that really cool paint scheme of the blue, black, and white. Mm-hmm. Really eye-catching paint scheme, really looked nice, but man, it was just a nightmare in the shops. And of course, in New England, you're going to have all kinds of different environmental concerns, from the seashore, from snow and everything else. So that paint didn't stay pretty for too long. And so by the time Alan Dustin came along, well, the railroad was pretty much bankrupt. And the Jeep 9s, before the 38-2s showed up, the Jeep 9s and the 18s, they were pretty much road power for the road. So they had to keep them going. And so they simplified the paint scheme. They simply got rid of the black end cabs and the black ends on the nose and went with what the rail fans called the blue dip scheme. And these I do have fond memories of, watching these as a kid. And that's probably why I modeled the Boston and Maine, because I remember seeing these very units switching out in my rural town of Pennacook, New Hampshire. And really cool. And they stayed pretty much this blue color until some of them got rebuilt in the 80s. They turned a slightly darker blue at that point. But, we've got a lot of cool GP9s in this series that are pretty much from the late 60s into the early 70s and sometimes early 80s. So we've got a pretty interesting mix of power here this month.
Yeah, if you got like a quick second, I have a cool shot of the 1705 that I wanted to show off.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one was unique. And I'll go ahead and share my screen right now.
All right.
If that works. But yeah, the 1705, and we didn't have space to show it on the announcement, but the 1705, when it lost its dynamic brake hatch, or dynamic brake fan, I should say, because B&M at the time, they were taking the fans off. They were deactivating the brakes and taking the fans off. This one actually lost its side grills as well, as you guys can see right here. And so we're going to be replicating that on this model as well. That was the only one that lost the side grills. So just another cool feature on that one.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's something that, sometimes we don't always watch for. And in the old days when I used to custom paint these, it was hard to keep up because small railroads or smaller railroads like the Boston and Maine, there wasn't really any consistency. One minute they would paint something this way, and then the next minute they paint it the other way. These three that or I should say you chose, were based on what we could do with what we have. And it's a great job doing the detail on the dynamic brake delete on those.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, let's see. And then you've got a really nice picture there, 1744, and that's a clean Boston to Maine locomotive at that point.
Yeah, that's
pretty clean.
It looks like they started washing it, and then they were like, "Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna skip the rest of it."
Well, the Red Sox were playing, and they wanted to watch the Red Sox. So.
That's right.
So getting closer to your neck of the woods, we've got this beautiful GP9A and B units. And these are really cool because, out of all of the railroads that got B units, only the Union Pacific and Pennsylvania got them.
Yeah, and the Union Pacific, they were kind of marching to their own beat with their power in the 50s and up. What with the gas turbines that we're going to be talking about soon, and the double engine diesels. They were also a big user of cabless units, starting with these Jeep 9Bs and the ST24Bs and the Jeep 30Bs as well. Some really interesting stuff that they were running during this time.
Yeah, Union Pacific was never one to not be afraid of experimenting and doing stuff, as we'll see here in a minute. And, even back then, back in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, they were a juggernaut. They were just the epitome of modern freight, and at that point, passenger travel. Just an amazing railroad. And it's kind of interesting that you've got the two juggernauts, the one of the East Coast being the Pennsylvania and the one of the West Coast being the Union Pacific. And they were the only ones that, stuck their toe in the waters and got the B units for the Jeep 9s. Definitely really cool. And this paint scheme, this is another thing that I think we've all learned. And this is something, Janek, that I don't think people understand what there is involved when you're doing the paint schemes for these. But to the casual observer, it's another armor yellow, harbor mist gray,
right,
red. But no, it's not that simple, is it?
No, well, depending on the time period you're talking about with these, they had the different slogans on the cab. These ones have "Serves all the West" on the cab, but there was also the "Dependable Transportation." There was the "We Can Handle It." Later on, there was "We Will Deliver." Union Pacific went through several different slogans over the time. And they also went through different sizes of lettering and different placements of like the shields. It wasn't just the same yellow and gray with red pinstripes the whole time. Although the colors were the same, but pretty much everything else was different.
Janek, here's a question for you. I think I know the answer, but you're the expert. Kevin wants to know, did the cabless units have controls in them? I don't know about the UP ones.
I believe that they had Hostler controls. Yeah, so basically a brake valve and a throttle. I don't think the throttle went past the third notch, basically only for moving them around in the yard.
So speaking of, it's a good thing we stopped there at UP, because our next Genesis offering for the month of December is another Union Pacific locomotive. And I'll bring that up on our screen here. So again, we're talking about engineering marvels. This is really cool. Briefly, what's the backstory on the Union Pacific turbines?
So as I mentioned briefly last week, Union Pacific, they weren't happy with the horsepower they were getting out of their diesel units at the time. They wanted more. They wanted the ability to move longer trains faster, because they just had these just vast distances that they had to cover. So GE approached them with this gas turbine. The original demonstrator was double cabbed, and it was a 4,500 horse prime mover, which was triple of a GP7 at the time. And UP was like, "Oh man, this is great, and it runs on what's called Bunker C, which was basically considered at the time a waste product. So they could get it almost for free. So these things just made a whole lot of sense for them at the time. The veranda turbines that we're showing off here is the second version, where they actually had outside walkways, and that was so the crew didn't have to walk through the noisy turbine room if they had to walk to the back of the unit for some reason. So this was the second version here. Our version has the fuel tenders, which were added pretty soon after delivery, and we got a couple different art variations too. If you guys take a look at it, 64 with the small lettering on the tender, and then you got 67 with the Union Pacific lettering on the nose, and then some other different air intakes on these as well, depending on the number. So just some variations there that we haven't offered before.
And of course, now we've got LED lighting with this, which was not available in the previous release.
Yeah, well, not just LED lighting, but improved lighting features, where you got the operating Mars light and the emergency stop light. You got lit number boards. You got headlights. You got backup lights on the tender and on the locomotive, and you got lit class lights. So just a lot of lighting features on these as well.
That's pretty cool. So real easy to do prototype operations with this guy. I mean, with all that different setup with the lighting, very impressive locomotive. Well, so it's a good thing we're not running a tally, because so far I've counted 4 or 5 GP9s I need to order. You got to order the turbine. I mean, that's just a cool locomotive. It's another one of those neat things that Union Pacific experimented with. And they weren't afraid to do that. They were not afraid to try different types of technology. They weren't just satisfied with just your run-of-the-mill locomotives, and that even includes their steam program. They've always been kind of an innovator.
They definitely had the mantra "bigger is better." They trying to do the most that they could with the least number of units, at least up until the 70s.
That's cool. So, Janek, about your job, I mean, what do you think is your favorite part of your job?
It's getting to work with all these different railroads that normally I wouldn't know anything about, but getting to research these items and learn, not just the roster and the road numbers, but also the paint schemes and some of the backstory as to the why. I find that to be really interesting, and then working with some of these experts too, who absolutely know more about their respective railroads than I do. I've been working with some guys on the L&N units, and they've just been a huge help. So I think that the variety of stuff that I get to see, that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you never get bored. There's always something new. Just when you think you've learned something, you find out more, like you were saying. And we've been talking about, at least the last 2 broadcasts, we've been talking about we need a product manager. We need somebody that's got the drive and the passion to come on board and do like what Janek does. It's a lot of work, but it's rewarding work, and it really is it's going to be a lot cooler designing a model locomotive than, say, a trash can or something of that nature.
Well, it's actually even more fun than what I do, because this position is going to be working with new stuff, stuff that we don't have in the line right now. So all you guys that are asking for SW1001s or SDL 39s, SD40As, all this stuff that we don't have, that is what this person's going to be working on. The new stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really exciting. I mean, that's what everybody talks about in the hobby these days, is new. What's the new stuff coming out?
Yeah, so if you've got that background and there's something that you think we should be making, we need to talk. But the thing of it is we've talked a little bit about it. We've had some updates on our social media accounts. We've had a few questions, and I've got something here. Hopefully, we'll clear some things up. Let me bring this up here real quick. This week we spoke about the new position that opened up here at Athen, and that's for the product manager. We got a lot of comments, and we also got some questions. And 3 questions need to be addressed because they kept coming up over and over again. So let's clear those up right now. The ability to speak Chinese, it's not really a requirement. However, it is a plus. You must be a U.S. citizen and you must be located here in the United States. And while this job does allow you to work remotely, that remote location must be within the United States. You must have strong product management experience as well as modeling experience, because really both go hand in hand with this job. If this still sounds interesting to you and you like to see concept go to reality, please go to horizonhobbyllc.com, select the careers tab, and you're on your way. We hope to hear from you soon. So, there's some questions that you guys had. Now, while I've got your attention on this job, there's been some questions too. Where do I go? And now, Athen is owned by Horizon Hobby, which is the best place to work. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys how to get there so you can get your information to us. So let me go ahead and here we go. All right. Can you see that okay, Janek?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is the Horizon Hobby website. It's simply put, horizonhobbyllc.com. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to career opportunities right here in the top. Go ahead and select that. And we're going to scroll down, and here it is, Product Manager, Model Train Division. Okay, we just posted this. And by selecting that, this is going to give you all the details of what the job does, what it entails, and some of the roles and responsibilities that your new job would have, and of course your qualifications. Now, there are, since it's a hobby company, there's a lot going on here, but don't let that overwhelm you. Like we said in that brief little video, we're looking for somebody that's got product management skills combined with modeling experience as well. So, go ahead. As soon as this broadcast is over, if you think you've got what we're looking for, we would really like to talk to you. And go ahead and select that link and apply today.
Yeah, if you're a guy or girl, not being selective about that, but if you consider yourself to be, in tune with this hobby and this industry, and you're really in the know about what's going on and what all these companies are making, that would be really helpful for this position, because not only do you want to focus on what's the best new stuff to make, but you also want to be aware of what other companies are making too, and working on relationships with those companies, make sure that everybody is doing the right products at the right time.
So yeah, that's it's a pretty cool job. It's not without its just like any job, you're gonna have days, but at the end of those days, we really do have a rewarding job. I mean, I love my job. Janek, I know you love your job too.
Well, like we said, on our worst day ever here, we still get to work with trains. So your worst day at work, you will get to work with trains. That is
Exactly. Speaking of trains too, I'm pretty excited because not only do we talk about all that cool stuff that's coming, but we've got stuff in the warehouse now, and we got stuff that's soon going to be here. Now, you probably, the sharp, eagle-eyed folks out there probably noticed that behind me I've got some interesting locomotives. So Janek knows what they are because Janek and his crew out there was able to get us some video that we posted I think last month. But I'm going to go ahead and let's see, get out of the way. And so what we have here in stock and coming in stock soon, let's start with what's coming into stock soon. What if CSX didn't exist? It'd be Chessie, right? What if Chessie had ES44s? I think that wears it pretty well, don't you?
I think so too. It's surprising how good these schemes look on this newer power. I've seen a lot
really,
of these great freelance groups on Facebook.
Doing my best to do a Baby Yoda here.
There you go.
There you go. Look at that. I mean, that's a great paint scheme. I mean, I miss that paint scheme. I was old enough to just see those coming, out of phase, getting repainted. But I mean, these are going to be in stock. We're probably talking another couple of weeks. Now, the ES44s, ACs, and that's what these are. That's the Chessie. I've also got the Amtrak. Let me grab the Amtrak. Remember what the rail fans called the Pepsi paint scheme?
Pepsi cans. Yeah, the -8s. Those
I always liked that paint scheme.
That's a great paint scheme. And here you got it on pretty much the same cab, just a longer locomotive. I think it works.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look too far out of place. So, oh man. So if you're one of those guys that maybe models a fallen flag, say Burlington Route or Burlington Northern or Santa Fe or Chessie or Western Maryland, go to the Athen website and you're going to see the coming soon are the ES44 ACs. They're going to be here probably, I'd say about 2 weeks from now. They're not too far out.
So they'll be here in time for Christmas.
Exactly. So, you can get a last minute Christmas gift for yourself for the layout or for the modules, for your club, whatever. I making sure she's not within earshot. I think I ordered the Burlington version and the Burlington Northern version.
I didn't order any of them. Why would I do such a silly thing?
Especially since there was an SP version in there too.
That's right. Yeah.
Give us a call out, guys. What your favorite fallen flag is, and let us know in the comments section. We're watching the comments as we're talking, and we got a few comments on the Amtrak ones. It looks pretty good, and personally, I always thought that Pepsi can scheme was the best, but give us a shout out. Which one do you like the best? And can you see yourself buying a fantasy ES44? I guess I could. I don't normally get into that what if type of thing, but those I could kind of get into. They look really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Janek, you've got some pictures of some things that are coming down the road too, don't you?
I do. I was outside today and took some really quick shots. I got some GP18 samples in the mail.
Oh.
And these are the first samples that we've ever seen of these things. So pretty cool to be the first person to see them. I'll go ahead and show those off here. If my thing becomes unfrozen, geez.
Uh-oh.
Let's give it a few minutes. Can you still hear me?
Okay. Well, while your computer, it looks like it might be an internet issue.
Yeah, looks that way.
So Janek will be back with us soon on that. But one of the things that I wanted to do, and these just came into stock, I'm going to go ahead and let Janek work on his computer real quick. One of the things that I've been working on is a project layout. And I need a switching layout for all this cool HO stuff. But what am I going to get? These just came out. These are the GP9s Okay, but these are the earlier versions. So here's the Canadian Pacific. Remember we talked about earlier the multi-mark. Well, this is obviously before the multi-mark. So if you're modeling the earlier Canadian Pacific, say the 50s into the 60s, this would be perfect for your layout. And actually, that's a really classy paint scheme. I always liked that paint scheme. That was gone by the time I noticed the Canadian Pacific. But these would look great in any Canadian or New England style layout. But I wanted to do something a little bit different this time. Since I am in the Midwest, and as much as I love the Burlington route and the Boston and Maine, I wanted to do something that was somewhat local. And I live not too far from the Wabash, and we all know the Wabash became the N&W. So for my switching layout, I went ahead and picked up the Norfolk and Western former Wabash locomotive, GP9. Now, 462 was former Wabash 462, and now it's 3462 rather. And again, it's going to have all of the details that the Wabash would have originally had, and then it's been repainted. And since I modeled the 1970s, well, that will fit a lot better. So the GP9s are in stock right now. If your dealer doesn't have any, you can go to our website and check them out. Let me see if I can get Janek back. There he is. Little internet hiccup we seem to be getting every once in a while.
I don't know, man. I don't try to understand it. I just live it. So,
well, it's one of those things. It's kind of what we do. It's now let's see. I'm going to get this picture. We were just talking about Norfolk and Western, and here you go showing off.
Yeah, here
picture.
we go.
There it is.
Western, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Jeep 18 in the, with the big NW block letters on the side. Just about as basic of a paint scheme as it gets, but really, really stylistic logo if you think about it. Just the font that they chose and the way they arranged it is really neat on that.
Now, with the one that I just showed, that was probably, the Norfolk and Western came about after 64, 65. So that would probably, the hamburger and the blue would have been one of their earlier paint schemes. This is more of a 1970s simplified paint scheme, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly right. This is more of a simplified basic scheme, pretty much two colors, white and black, and then they've got a little bit of yellow on the handrails and the steps. But other than that, typical N&W, it's a long head forward operation on this thing. It's got the bell up on the short hood end there. And of course, being a GP18, it's got those GP18 style grills, which look really good. So,
yes, it does.
I got one more as well over here.
All right. Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, you want to talk about a classy paint scheme. I mean, this just looks phenomenal. With those curves on it, with the red pinstripes, man, that's a great looking paint scheme. We were talking about early Burlington Northern. I mean, that's a great candidate right there. If you're interested in that too, you just give it a little BN patch. And
yeah. That's
so Northern Pacific, you got the steam engine style bell there on the short hood. You got the firecracker antenna. Spark arrestor is the big old winterization hatch because it gets pretty cold up there in the northern part of the Pacific, so it makes sense. But yeah, just a nice looking engine.
Well, that's cool. You know what? Let me just check something here. All right. That's really cool. Thanks for showing that.
Yeah, I'll shoot some
in,
later maybe.
I just got something in from the news desk here, and this just came in. Yeah, this is a news flash. We need that graphic. Be like CNN, have the
with
little
the sound effect. Yeah,
right, yeah, the little dun, 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 dun.
somebody typing. Yeah, news flash.
Somebody typing, yeah, exactly. So now we just got a new. This just came in from the big guys at Athen. Let's see. Let me read this news release because this is kind of cool. So Athen has decided that we're going to extend the pre-orders on all the stuff that we showed in November. We were just talking about at the beginning of the hour. You still have time till Friday. We've never done that before.
Oh, wow.
So that tells me that this is so popular. One of the comments I got from somebody else was the dealers have been so busy with that.
Yeah.
They just can't keep up any more time. So guys, if you've missed out, you still have till this Friday. Go ahead, get to your dealers. And that means I don't have to worry about no more cabooses on my BN stuff, because not that I forgot, I wouldn't forget the pre-order stuff. But in case I did, maybe I still have time to do that.
So that's great news for anybody that missed out, or maybe they were busy with the holidays or Black Friday shopping. So this is a good opportunity.
Yeah, I mean that is a great deal. Rodney's like, it must be a Black Friday deal, a late Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I don't know. It's never happened that I can think of anymore. So, yeah, you guys that think you've missed out, you got a reprieve. Go ahead, get with your dealers and talk to them today. Be patient with them, because it sounds like a lot of our dealers out there are super busy, which is a good thing.
It's a good problem. Yeah,
it's exactly. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where, since we work from home and we need something to do when we're not working, we've got our layouts to work on, and as a result, I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of people out there doing a lot of great work. So definitely.
Yeah, I've seen cool new stuff on YouTube as well. A buddy of mine just started a new podcast about trains, so I'm pretty excited about that. Getting to watch that.
Janek, you bring up a good point about podcasts, and I don't know about you or anybody else out there that's watching and listening. When I'm working on my layout, I don't watch television. I listen to podcasts, and it's kind of nice because you can work on your projects and you're not engaged into watching something. You're just listening. You're taking it in as you're working. So one of the things that we've been thinking about is give us some comments out there. How many out there, while you're working on your layout, would like to hear an Athen podcast? Maybe myself and Janek talking about what's new, what's going on, and just talking about railroading in general. If that's something that you'd like to hear, definitely.
Yeah.
Let us know, because if we get enough requests, it's something that we can do.
Yeah, we want to be having a show that's about stuff that you guys want, not necessarily just what we want. Because who cares about that except for us?
So Glenn just commented too. He said, "Thank you so much for doing the CP Rail GP9." So now I've got to know, which one did you like, Glenn? With the one that I just showed you, the classic Canadian Pacific with the script, or the new ones that we're doing for December? Let us know. Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to be a CP rail modeler. There's a lot of cool stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool stuff that's going on right now, I don't know about you. Did you get dragged in putting up Christmas decorations or holiday lights or anything like that?
No, actually, our neighbors took care of that. So it's like, their houses look great. Don't really need to worry about this one. It just all kind of blends in.
You're lucky. I was on the roof Saturday and Sunday, so Chevy Chase style.
Good times.
But there's more to the holidays than killing your electric bill or falling off ladders. We talked a little bit about doing a holiday photo contest. Remember that?
I do remember that. It's like it was just last week that we talked about it, huh?
We did talk about it, but it was kind of vague, and so we're still working on it. But right now, in fact, let me talk about it a little bit. And what we'll do is I'll show the email. I'll just get that going up there.
Cool.
See, we are just like CNN. There it goes.
There it goes.
Here it comes. There it goes. So,
contest at horizonhobby.com.
Yeah. Now they're working on putting it on the website as we talk.
All right.
But let me get some material for you guys so you know what we're looking for, because we're going to want to start seeing this stuff.
Cool.
Let me see. And this is going to be a fun thing, and we're going to start doing more contests as we go along, because we, with the pandemic, a lot of us are sheltered in place. We want to see what everybody else is working on. So we figured contest is a great way to do this. I'm going to share my screen again.
Well, I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I have trouble getting motivation to work on stuff, especially if I'm going to be stuck at home for a while. But contest, hey, that's something to work forward to.
Exactly. So let me bring this up. And there, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, looks good.
All right. So this is the Athen Holiday Photo Contest. Now, there's just some real basic rules. We're going to try to keep it simple. Athen product obviously must be used as the focal point. And the theme this year is capturing the holiday spirit. It can be a realistic image of your railroad layout, a module, or even a diorama, or a lifestyle type image that shows how trains are an important part of your family tradition. Maybe your father, your grandfather, your son, your daughter. It can be under the tree, just a cool family picture. All images submitted are subject to be used for the Athen Facebook, Instagram, social media platforms. So just to let you know, when you do submit those, they do become Athen property to be used on those platforms. And coming up next is our rules. Contest starts on December 1st. All submissions must be sent in no later than Wednesday, December 16th, 2020. Athen employees will vote on which image collected to date best captures the spirit of the holiday, and the winner will be contacted by email provided. Winner will receive, hey, stop, come back.
Winner will receive nothing.
Receive nothing. You get nothing. You get nothing. The winner will receive, are you ready for this, Janet? The winner is going to receive a Genesis SD70 Ace, the Union Pacific Spirit of the UP number 1943. That will be sent to you as your gift for winning the contest, and you'll have a chance to come on board with Janek and I. We're gonna talk to you because we want to know, you did a winning picture. We want to talk to you about it. So that's a way for you to come on board and visit with Janek and I.
That's the best part. That's priceless. I mean, you could put a price on a model, but being to come on the show with us and talk about your picture, that's really cool.
Well, what they should do is we should have you sign the box of the locomotive, because that will make the locomotive go up in value.
That'll triple value, right? Yeah, absolutely.
At least. I mean, you can't go wrong. Limited to one locomotive signed by Janek. So, yeah, definitely. We'll have some more stuff on social media. Watch our Facebook page, watch our Instagram account, but that's what we're looking for. We're not necessarily looking for the most realistic snowstorm on your module. We're trying to capture the feel of this time of year. And a lot of us, Janek, I know you and I've talked about this. We got our start with a train set at Christmas time. And if that's what you remember, try to capture that in a photograph.
Absolutely, yeah. And for those of you out there who maybe already have 1943, or it's not exactly what you want, you could still use it as a trade, for something with your friend that you actually do want. Or, if you're running on DC, all of our DCC equipped engines also run on DC. So keep that in mind as well. You will be able to use it on your layout.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's an Athen Genesis, so it's going to have the DCC and the sound. It's going to be a great locomotive, and I know I've got one, and man, the detail on it's great. I'm not necessarily a UP modeler, but man, the paint on that is just amazing. It's a really cool locomotive.
Yeah, it is. So cool.
Well,
So all that is going to be up on the website. Pretty soon it's going to be up on Facebook so that you guys can take a look at it. And it'll all be there soon, right?
it's going to be there soon, but look for it in the next day or two. That email address is live and working. We don't have it posted on the Athen page just yet, but we will have that up probably either tonight or tomorrow sometime. But again, that email that you see flashing on your screen, that'll come right to us. So start submitting your pictures. You have about 2.5 weeks to get that done, and we want to see what the holiday means to you, especially with your trains and such.
Well, like you said, this is our first contest, but by no means is this our last contest. We're going to have other contests in the future for all different kinds of prizes and all different kinds of subjects. So, maybe this isn't exactly your cup of tea. There's going to be different and new stuff coming in the future as well.
Yeah, that's right. You bring up a good point. As we come into 2021, we're going to have some small contests that you guys can take part of pretty much on a weekly basis. We're also going to have what we call quarterly contests. These are the big ones.
Nice.
These are the big contests that will hopefully get to showcase your modeling, and in exchange, you get a cool gift and you get to come on the show to tell us how you did what you did. So be thinking about it. Once the holidays start to wind down, we're going to start going into Notch 8 to do some great modeling, and we want to showcase what you guys are working on. So most definitely. Well, man, we had a full show today. I think it's time for a little bit of Q&A. What do you think?
Yeah, let's take a few questions and we'll call it a day.
All right. And while I get set up, I'm going to see, I told you earlier it was kind of cold.
What, 38 is cold now? Come on.
Well, it's just that wind. I'm not used to that wind.
Oh, no, I've heard about the wind.
Wind is horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what it's like in Arizona.
Oh, it's probably perfect.
It probably is. Let's find out. Let's see.
Oh, man, it looks beautiful there, doesn't it?
It does look pretty good. I don't see any trains.
Yeah. Give it some time.
I think I see there's a flatbed Ford slowing down. No, it's not taking a look at me. Speaking of Ford, I did pick this up the other day. These came in. There was a couple of guys asking about trucks.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah, my father-in-law and I are Ford guys. And I figured I got to have one of these on the layout. Well, let's see what kind of questions we've got, because, man, earlier the comments were flying.
Oh, yeah, they were. Let's see. So Thomas W. Gassier, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Gassior, he wants to know if any Alco products are in discussion for future releases. Well, Thomas, let us know what you'd like to see. Me personally, there's quite a few Alcos that aren't out there. You got like the S6, I believe, is a good one. The T6, the C415. You got some cool stuff that hasn't really been made or widely available. Some stuff that I'd like to see. So let us know what you like to see.
Most definitely. And I just saw another one from Kevin. Kevin says, any more Wabash blue and gray units coming? So we showed the later just standard blue, but the earlier, I think it was imitation aluminum blue and gray. Those are really cool locomotives. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Can you, Janek?
Not right now, but they got those they had those F units and the Jeeps that we could do. So I could see us doing those in the near future. Next time we do F units, we usually do F units once a year. There's just so many dang paint schemes on them. So
I wonder, Janek, did we ever do the Wabash unit number? I think it's 1189 out just down the road from me in Monticello.
I don't know. That'd be a good one to do. I've seen that one and got to ride behind it myself. So that'd be a good one to do.
That'd be kind of a cool one to do, yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely one of the really neat paint schemes of the past, that's for sure.
All Ohio Railfan has a really good comment, because we got some SD60Ms coming up in 2021. We absolutely do. And I've been banging my head against the desk trying to come up with road names for it. And Carlet Express, I mean, that's something that we've never done before. That'd be a great one.
That would be a great one.
As well as the TRRA units. Another great comment from Mopac Productions. I love to do those as well.
No, those are great suggestions. Here's another great one. Beetle Train Fan 129. I don't know if he's talking about the John, Paul, Ringo, and George Beetle variety, but anyways, he would like to see some Wheeling and Lake Erie SD40-2s and GPs in the future.
Cool. Yeah, that's a cool railroad.
It is a cool railroad.
You know, they had a couple tunnel motors too, so yeah, that'd be a great one.
It would.
I see Scott Sanders asking for MKT 38-2s and a bunch of other MKT stuff. But Scott, I'm going to focus on the 38-2s. I'm going to put you down for some units with simplified stripes. You know, with the green cab roofs. We haven't done those yet. I'd like to do those and get the green correct. You know, sort of match the 39-2s. We'd like to see those in 2021. I think we got them on the list. So,
let's see. Here's an interesting one too. Would you consider doing BN SD40-2 number 6908? It was the last unpatched BN unit on the BNSF roster and was equipped with beacons for RCL service. That's cool.
I don't see why not. Yeah. BN patchers, that would be great. Or it's BNSF.
That would be very cool. I'd be in danger of ordering one of those.
I was in Merced, where I went to college of all places, and it was like 2011, you know, middle of the night, and I saw.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
I got something.
Green. Yeah, I saw BN 40-2 going by. It was pitch black, so I couldn't get any pictures, but it sounded good. So
here's an interesting request. This is coming from Glenn. Would you consider MBTA HSP-46s? Wow.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I want to be honest. You know, that's an engine that would be difficult for us to make because, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it just for MBTA? You know, nobody else ordered them. So, you know, to cut steel tooling for something like that, you know, I'm just being honest. It's expensive, and if we only get one railroad out of it, it makes it tough. But you know, what about like a 3D printed model? You know, that doesn't need tooling. That just needs a CAD file and a printer. That's something that we've sort of been kicking around on and off. Is for limited runs of something like that. If we could get into 3D printing, we could come up with some cool stuff and bring it out a lot faster too. So that might be a candidate for that if we ever head that direction.
And the rate that whole industry, if you will, is going, it'd probably be sooner than later. I mean, who would have thought 10 years ago? You know, probably in the future. My guess is in the future you won't necessarily exchange gifts at the holiday time. You'll exchange files, and you just go to your personal printer, and it kind of like on Star Trek, it replicates whatever's on that file, and there you go. There's your new locomotive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I think I've got one here for you, Janek. This is coming from Isaac. He is looking ACF 4600s are the only recently just released, but what road names are on the horizon for the future? Always need gray leasers, and he's got a laundry list. ACFX Um, 49,400 to 49,499 cars would be a great start. Also, Janek, did you get my email concerning those phosphoric acid tanks?
I did get your email, Isaac. It's a good thing I know how to swim because I have been just totally swamped with stuff today. Your email and 20 others I have yet to get back to, so I apologize for that. But yeah, 4600s, we definitely need to do some plain Jane leasers, like you said, and just so many other paint schemes on that. That's a car. We should probably be running that car every year, at least. We're never going to run out of stuff to do on it. So thank you for that reminder. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Bring that car back.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point too, Janek. I mean, we are pretty good about email, but right now we're not just looking for folks in product management, but we're kind of short staffed. So, and of course, this is our busier time of year, even without the train.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you send us an email, don't think we're blowing you off. It's just we are catching up, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of cool things that I can't talk about just yet that are coming around the corner that I think you guys are all going to enjoy too.
Let's see, Rodney Guggenheim. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He wants Apache railroad engines.
Ooh, those would be cool.
Talk about a cool railroad, man. I know they had some Elcos, but I'm not informed about what else they might have had. Did they have anything that we produce in our line with existing tooling? Let us know, or I'll just go look after this. But let us know if you do know. That'd be
interesting to find out. Let's see. Some really good comments here. It's so hard sometimes to grab them because the comments, believe it or not, go by pretty quick. Let's see.
Well, they're all good comments, and just because we don't get to yours, we see them all. We take them all seriously. I wish we could do everything that you guys want. I wish we could just bring it out quickly. These things.
That is so true. I mean, there's so many things that we would love to see that you guys come up with for comments. Here's an interesting one from Asher. Would you guys ever do Port Harbor 8955? It's a first responders unit. It's an ex-CP GP40-2. You have the correct tooling for the CP GP40-2 coming in January 2021. It would be a cool engine for you guys to make. Well, if the tooling is there, that's usually our biggest struggle, right, Janek?
Yeah, that is the biggest struggle is do we have the tooling or not? Now, I just looked that engine up. It is a nice-looking engine. There's plenty of pictures of that thing online, so that's helpful too. Having the pictures, that can make or break producing a model. Looks like there's decent pictures of this thing out there as well. So yeah, no, I think it's a good choice. I gotta look and see if it's looks like a 40-2, but I gotta look and see if it's been rebuilt or something, and see if it's doable with the Genesis tooling.
Let's see.
Glenn Mescal 2. Are you guys going to rerun the tank train cars? Yes, sir. Absolutely, we are. 2021 announcement. We got more of the orange tank trains. We got the simplified, the small white tank trains, and we got more of the modern cars as well. So they are coming.
A lot of good comments this week. Tom Murray wants to know any chance of Genesis, Providence, and Worcester GP38-2s for the East Coast people.
Yeah, why not? That's
cool paint scheme too.
Cool paint scheme. Really well received paint scheme. So yeah.
I'd have to say, if you've got good pictures in the scheme that you're looking for, definitely send them to us, because I'm stuck in the Midwest now, and Janek's in the West Coast. So with everything going on right now, we don't get to travel as much. So if you got pictures for something that we can't get to and you're interested, help us help you.
Definitely.
I see a comment from Tom Murray about Guilford units, and it reminds me, I don't know if you heard, but it sounds like Pan Am is going to get bought out.
Yeah, by CSX. I just heard about that.
That's different.
It's going to bring some changes, and I bet you a lot of locomotives are going to be put up for sale sometime soon.
I do know that Pan Am has been busy scrapping some, so.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Let me see. And Tom, you were asking for Genesis GP40-2s in Guilford. What was it we just did recently in Guilford?
39-2s.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But Guilford had the 40-2s. They also had the wide cab 40-2s.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure that some of those are coming up soon. So hopefully that fits your interest as well.
Let's see. Here's an interesting one for you, Janet. This one's coming from Daniel. His suggestion is, what about some GP38-2s and 40-2s in the Seaboard system, but patched for CSX for the 80, 88 to 92 era? That's kind of cool.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for being specific. Yeah, I would be in for some of those. I would probably do them Seaboard system, and then we would do CSX patch at the same time, just because it makes it easier to do them at the same time. The factory can basically paint all the bodies at once, and then just decorate them differently. So, yeah, no, it's a good idea.
A lot of good stuff coming in. I mean, this is why Janek is so busy, because we get so many good comments, and of course we love all your comments. So, it's just hard to keep up when there's just a few of us. Let's see.
You want to take a couple more, and then
yeah, I think we'll take a few more, and then we'll call it a night. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right. Do you see anything that's looks interesting?
Needs to quit one at Gmail. We need more Kodachrome. Yes. Doesn't matter what it is. We just need more of this.
There's nothing false about that statement.
There is more Kodachromes coming in 2021. There's a wide variety of Kodachromes coming in 2021. So stand by for that. Let's see. Great Chris Kohan. Sorry, don't know how to say it. He wants more Great Northern Big Sky Blue units.
Another true statement.
That's a great paint scheme. Yeah.
Maybe it's because of my age, but I really like the Big Sky Blue scheme. Probably Great Northern fans, don't shoot me, more than the green and orange.
I'm in the same boat, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask. I think it looks really cool, especially on like an F45 or an SD45.
It looks like we have a birthday today too. Terry.
Happy birthday,
so
Terry.
Everybody say happy birthday to Terry LaFrance.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. No, the funny thing about that paint scheme, I don't know if you knew, I'm sure you knew this because you do all this research, but originally the Burlington Northern was going to just carry over that Great Northern paint scheme, which if you see the early Burlington Northern Cascade Green experimental paint schemes, it kind of looks like that, just green instead of blue.
Yeah, it does. It's similar in some ways. Yeah.
Well, I think we got time for maybe one more question before we call it a night.
All right.
Janek, I'm going to let you do the honors.
Bob Wooster. I talked to Bob a couple times on Facebook. Main Central chop noses. Yes, absolutely. Main Central chop noses. Cooking up a plan for those right now. And the thing I want to say too is that we have improved Main Central color chips. We got some feedback on the colors the first time around, and we got some improved color chips for the second time around. So hopefully when those things come out, they will be well received when we do the second run.
Definitely. And I'm all for those chop noses. Those were cool locomotives. Well, we had a full show today. There's a lot going on, guys. The holidays are here, so don't forget to get your pictures into us. Start using that email and start looking on our website for other information. But we want to see your pictures. Again, if you are thinking that you've got what it takes to be our product manager, by all means, we want to talk to you. We're looking for talented folks that can help us out and bring a lot of these things that we talk about into reality. Remember, every locomotive that we have started with a designer. They don't just magically appear. So
yeah,
look into that. And man, don't forget too, you got till Friday to get the stuff from November. So you don't even need a DeLorean.
It's Green Friday if you order a BN caboose.
There you go.
Not black.
I mean, it's like, oh man, I forgot to order that stuff for November. But no, I don't need a DeLorean to go back in time. I can just go to my dealer now in whatever it is I'm driving and order it. So this is not, in my memory, this has not happened before. So take advantage of that. Definitely. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And yeah, we will see you next week, right, Jim? That's right. So I'm signing off from East Central Illinois. Everybody have a great week. Stay happy, stay healthy. And as always, high greens, everybody.
See y'all later.